the dead don't rest where history hurts the most. From the blood-soaked fields of war to silent asylum walls, America's past refuses to stay buried. This is Ghosts of the Past, exploring America's most haunted locations. Imagine being locked away in total silence for years. No voices, no sunlight, just your thoughts and the screams of the damned. Opened in 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary was once the most famous and expensive prison in the world. Its design was revolutionary, focusing on solitary confinement to force repentance. But this silence bred madness. Prisoners reported seeing shadow figures, hearing whispers that weren't there. Some clawed at the walls, desperate for release. Today, the penitentiary is a crumbling ruin. Visitors and staff report footsteps, ghostly laughter, and the presence of something watching. Ghost hunters call it one of the most active haunted sites in the U.S. And some believe that those who suffered behind its cold stone walls never left. Over 50,000 men were killed, wounded, or went missing here. The land is soaked in blood and heavy with sorrow. The Battle of Gettysburg, fought in July 1863, was the turning point of the Civil War. But with victory came unimaginable death. Visitors have reported ghostly soldiers walking in formation, cannons firing with no explanation, voices shouting orders on an empty field. At the Devil's Den, cameras malfunction, batteries drain, and some say they've seen a barefoot soldier sitting on the rocks, only to vanish when approached. The Farnsworth House Inn, where Confederate sharpshooters once took aim, is said to be home to at least 16 spirits, including a crying child and a woman in mourning. Gettysburg is more than a battlefield, it's a graveyard caught in a time loop. Insanity, despair, and thousands of lost souls. Welcome to one of America's darkest institutions. Built in the mid-1800s, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was meant to house 250 patients. At its peak, it held over 2,400. Patients were subjected to ice baths, lobotomies, and years of confinement. Many died, nameless and buried in unmarked graves. Today, visitors report ghostly screams, flickering lights, and cold spots in locked rooms. One infamous spirit, Ruth, is said to throw objects at visitors, especially men. The most haunted wing, the Civil War section, where soldiers once used the building as a base and hospital. Some say they still march its halls. It's a place where trauma echoes and silence is never truly silent. Southern charm with a deadly past. Some call it the most haunted home in America. The Myrtles Plantation, built in 1796, is shrouded in legend. It's said to sit atop an ancient Native American burial ground. But its most infamous ghost, Chloe was an enslaved woman punished by having her ear cut off. In revenge, she allegedly poisoned her master's children, but her plan backfired and she was hanged by her fellow slaves. Her spirit, wearing a green turban, is said to still roam the grounds. She appears in mirrors, in photographs, and to those staying overnight. Guests report doors opening by themselves, children's laughter, and handprints on the glass. Whether myth or memory, the Myrtles holds onto its ghosts tightly. Staircases to nowhere, doors that open into brick walls, and hallways built to confuse the dead. Welcome to the Winchester Mystery House, a mansion with more than 160 rooms and no clear blueprint. After the death of her husband, rifle magnate William Winchester, Sarah Winchester began building this bizarre structure. She claimed she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by the Winchester rifle. To appease them, she built constantly for 38 years, believing that if construction ever stopped, the spirits would take her life. Visitors say the house is filled with strange energy, cold drafts, whispering voices, shadow figures that disappear into walls. Whether a grieving widow's madness or a ghost's command, the Winchester House is a monument to obsession and possibly the paranormal. If this hotel feels familiar, it should. It inspired The Shining, and it's just as terrifying. Built in 1909, the Stanley Hotel gained fame after Stephen King's 1974 visit. He stayed in room 217, where he had a nightmare that led to the creation of his horror masterpiece. But long before that, strange things were happening. Guests report hearing piano music in the dead of night with no one there. Luggage moves on its own. Shadows pass through locked doors. Room 217 is particularly active. Staff and guests have reported a female ghost who folds clothes, moves items, and watches from mirrors. Even King himself said he felt a strange presence there. The Stanley is beautiful and utterly haunted. Thousands came here for a cure. Most never left. In the early 1900s, Waverly Hills Sanatorium was built to treat tuberculosis then called the White Plague. With no cure, patients were subjected to painful, experimental treatments. Over 6,000 people are believed to have died here. To dispose of bodies without frightening the living, staff used a death tunnel, a dark, winding chute that carried corpses out of sight. Today, ghost hunters consider Waverly Hills one of the most haunted places in the world. Apparitions of nurses and patients are common. People hear screams, or see a small boy known as Timmy who rolls a ball across the hall. It's a place where death was routine, and the air still feels heavy. These places are more than old buildings. They are tombs of memory filled with sorrow, violence, and sometimes, something else. You don't have to believe in ghosts to feel the chill. Just step inside. Listen. And you might find that the past is not as distant as it seems. America's haunted history is alive if you know where to look. Thanks for joining us on this haunted journey. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into eerie corners of history. Tell us in the comments which haunted place would you dare to visit.